Hello and welcome to another episode of Literary Gladiators, the show where we discuss and debate literature in all of its forms. If it's written work, it's game. Let's meet the panel.
Cynthia.
Hi, Morgen.
And I'm Josh.
And unfortunately, Charlie is in timeout today.
No!
Right. I was getting some things in the other room, and I saw that the vacuum cleaner was in a not very good situation.
Utter disarray.
I'll put it to you that way. And so I had to put Charlie in timeout.
The bag was open, Josh. I was trying to clean up the crap.
Charlie,
If you keep doing that, you're going to spend more time in timeout.
I was trying to help him.
do you want to not participate in the show?
Yeah.
Alrighty.
All right, then.
What are we going over today?
Oh,
Laney?
today we're going over Long Live the Weeds by Theodore Roethke.
Oh, okay. That's your favorite poet.
Definitely from Michigan, and so many poems cover so many different areas of life and the life he lived. And so I'm glad we're doing Roethke today.
Oh, yeah. Very interesting new poet to bring to the realm.
Thank you.
What's the first question?
The first question is, why call the poem Long Live the Weeds?
Well, viva la vida. I think of the French, vive l'amour, vive la France, vive la compagnie. It's joyous. It's so glad to and welcoming. And it just sets the tone of the poem.
I actually see that I see the weeds in a more personified kind of way. I think that the way that Roethke writes it is in a sarcastic, cynical way. But how the weeds represent the fact that there's always this sense of ignorance and evil that interferes with the world's delights, and for some reason
As Oprah said,
just
The
will
thi-
never go away.
the challenges that meet us, that we have to take on, are the things that make us stronger and make us who we really are.
That's like
So-
literally what he writes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like pulling out a weed.
Ah, yes, and I curse when I do that sometimes, but it's always worth it at the end.
Yeah, I think it's Long Live the Weeds because he acknowledges that there are weeds, there's bad stuff, but, you know, we would be nothing without bad experiences, bad things happening.
Okay, just one moment. Are you ready to come back, Charlie?
Do you behave?
Yes.
All right,
Alright.
you can come back on the panel.
Easy, easy. And no moping.
The bag was open, Josh. You should have cleaned it up.
Okay. Just next time, ask before you touch my vacuums.
It was
And put things back where they belong.
right.
Already.
Don't you alright be, young man?
Okay, what kind of response do you have to this question, Charlie?
What question?
What do you think about the name of the poem? What does it mean to you?
Uh,
If you're not going to contribute.
I thought it was interesting, and when I first read it, I was a little confused and thought they meant weeds. Like, no, I'm just kidding. Just a bad joke. Usually, what I do with weeds, usually it's, oh man, really, I just watered yesterday, and you got to, I go pain in the neck. I do a little bit of gardening at home, and they're everywhere, and I pull them out and they're back the next day. So
That's life.
it's like I don't know, you pull them.
Constant.
I promise I'll be good.
Perhaps just long live the burdens of life,
Yeah.
because they're
Lightning in time out.
If they're not going to go away, then you got to embrace them.
Yeah. I have.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
Next question.
Do you believe that the speaker is speaking for the weeds, or is the weed representing another being?
It seems as if in the first eight lines of the poem, someone is speaking of the weeds. In the last 4 lines, it's almost as if we are hearing from the weeds.
It called and response in a way.
In a way, I would say.
Yeah, that's how I would see it.
I'm thinking that perhaps these weeds could be like who are original and aren't always accepted. And that's why he's saying long live like the artists and the misfits, and he, you know, he talks about them kind of like metaphorically, all the bad stuff, like the ugly in the universe, the wicked and the wild. And then he says, with these I match my little wit and earn the right to stand or sit. So like maybe he, you know, he could be like these people, like the weeds, and earn a place to, you know, be like them.
The avant-garde, the trendsetters,
Yeah.
the poets or the writers or artists, all of them who originally shock the world, maybe, or confuse them because they don't understand them. But it turns out they're in the vanguard.
Yep.
I like that lens that that the weed is a representative of somebody who's not accepted in society. The fact that, and not just somebody that's not accepted, but somebody that embraces the fact that they're not accepted in society.
That fuels
and
their
that
fire.
And that they're,
Yeah.
they know that people don't care about them, kind of like a Thoreau, and they decide to,
Thoreau. I'm sorry, I said I'd be good. I was making a pun.
and they just do what they want. It's almost as if they're a rebel. That's the other. That's the flip side to the somebody who is a villain, that they'll just do anything that they please.
Not in real life, obviously.
With these, I match my little wit and earn the right to stand or sit, hope, look, create, or drink and die. Just
exist.
do anything.
Yeah.
It's just anything.
Now, obviously,
What to do.
yeah. Now, what I was doing there, obviously that was a pun of Thoreau. I've made it in the past, and I think in our second episode. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. But you know, if I was out in public or on the beach, you know, with my girlfriend, and oh wait a minute, another bad pun. If I was on the boardwalk, on the beach, and I was just to throw something like that, and it just goes anywhere. Not to take it and put it in the garbage pail where it belongs. 9 times out of 10, I'd be in court, and I'd have to testify. So you have to, you know, obviously this person doesn't give a you know what about their actions, but you know, it's just some food for thought.
Okay.
You know, always know there's consequences for your actions.
I don't think that he doesn't care about his actions. I think he just understands that if we're looking at, you know, the weeds as like the artist, I think he just understands that other people see maybe his actions as wrong, but he knows they're not.
What do you mean by artists?
Like the weeds, right along with the weeds.
Right, but not by artists. Do you mean actual artist that paints, or
like-
are you talking about an artist as a musician?
Collectively
Oh,
okay,
artists,
yeah.
like writers, you know, free thinkers. you
Okay,
know.
because if I could say, Buddy Rich was a great drummer, and if I may, and it won't take long, I promise. Buddy Rich was a very, he was an excellent drummer, before our time, of course, but he was very strict with his band, and it was to the point where there were times that in the late 80s when he knew he didn't have much time left, he would just go off on these horrible rants, and on the band bus where nobody could hear it, but that's when they had the Walkman. Now we're talking 1984, 1985, and the point of the story is he didn't know that he was being recorded, and then they put that out for the public to say this is the real Buddy Rich. You know, he drove it. He had a tight ship, but there's a way to do things to correct somebody.
My favorite drummer is Buddy Rich.
Same
I mean,
here.
no, Gene Krupa.
Gene Cooper,
was another
yeah,
one.
he is great. He was he actually a little history lesson.
We're digressing.
I know we are, but
Sorry.
still.
Before we get into a discussion about drumming, do we want to go to the next question?
Alrighty. Do you feel the poem fits the generation to which it was written?
If we're looking at it in Morgan's way, it could very well be a beat poem,
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
50s.
Mm-hmm.
because it is a 50s work. Even if it's viewed in the more cynical way, then it could still be viewed in a way that will reflect upon 50s readers.
Whereas when Howl, that's when Howl came out from Allen Ginsberg, and it was just a big rant going on and on about injustice and all of that, you know, institutions, society, drugs, and all that good stuff. Good stuff, you know, police brutality, which we still have, but still, I digress. which I'm good at.
Long Live the Weeds was nothing like Howl, though, in the
Yeah.
concept. This is
But yeah,
very,
that's what I mean by
this
beat.
is clean.
Yeah, this is clean, but I'm saying like, as a beat poetry, that was beat poetry. Howl was beat poetry.
And then again, you could just read this literally as weeds and talking about challenges that one faces when you get to that forced son of man to toil, almost a biblical reference.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, we're made to work. They're talking about, because you have to keep weeding and weeding. They have Sisyphus rolling that rock.
That's
It's like,
exactly what I was thinking. The stone of
Yeah.
Sisyphus.
but you have to, like, if that's the food you're growing that you're going to eat, you just have to deal with the.
You have to put up with
The
the.
garden.
You have to put up with the. You have to put up with the garbage in order to have the. You need to. Oh my God! I had too much Snapple and cookies off camera. You need to have. You have to eat your salad and your main course before you have your dessert.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay.
Basically, you have to suffer before you are rewarded.
That's delayed gratification.
Mm-hmm.
I
Very
think-
Proustian in theory.
No.
I think this poem, appeals to all generations. I don't think, I don't think it's universal, the theme, and it can be read. I've read it in 2 different ways, so it speaks to everybody, really.
Ready. Does anybody have any final thoughts?
Read more Roethke poetry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll definitely check out the book that you got there. Would you be able to show us the book?
Sure, it's a Doubleday anchor book. Had it for a while. Really nice selection of poems, all different, and some of them are because his dad had a greenhouse, and so a lot of his youth was spent close to nature. There was a nature preserve near their property. A lot of nature poems, but there's love poems, there's poems about children's poetry, a really nice variety, and the Emperor, not the Emperor, My Papa's Waltz is fun, Elegy for Jane, fabulous poetry, Farfield. Just check some of Ricky's poetry out,
He's really
and
good.
you're apt to find things that will appeal to or talk to you.
It's a good beach read, poolside read. Don't take it in the pool because you'll go with the cover and the pages, but
Mm-hmm.
Definitely caters to then and now.
Mhm.
I would say that much.
For sure.
And I'm definitely going to look into Theodore Roethke.
Me as well.
And some of his poetry can be accessed online, but I would highly suggest checking out the book.
you can get it at any bookstore, I'm assuming, right?
I don't know about bookstores.
Oh, really? Okay.
It may be a little bit more of a challenge, but you could probably find it on Amazon.
Amazon's everybody's best friend for books.
Mhm.
Well, one time I used Amazon, I had my identity stolen, so there's another Charlie running around that.
I had
Charlie
that happen
Charlie.
Did
too.
that really happen on Amazon?
Not on Amazon, but not. I've had
It
my
was
identity
something.
stolen.
I
Oh
had
my
to do
God.
something for
Already.
Anyway,
Be sure to join us next
I'm
time.
the Duke of Digression.
Be sure to join us next time for another episode of Literary Gladiators. For now, keep reading.